Hi there, it's Joycelyn Wells with Joy Exposed, and it is Wednesday, June 10th. Happy Hump Day. I hope you guys are having an awesome night. We have, as I promised, a special guest joining us. Oh, hold on a second. Let me turn my volume down on my phone because I need to share. We have a special guest joining us tonight. His name is Jahir Wilkinson. So I'm waiting for him to chime in at any minute. But otherwise, I'm going to get started. I need to share this on my page. You guys know I do this every week. It seems so crazy that I just can't share it, right? Oh, no. Me and technology, I just don't know what I'm doing. Hang on just a second. Let me pull it up again. I thought I shared it, but I shared it twice on the same page. There we go. All right. All right, it's Joycelyn Wells with Joy Exposed. And I promised you guys that for the month of June, I would host some growing men to talk about their experiences of being men and, what all this, the pandemic, the civil unrest, the murders, the police reform, the conversation, how they feel about it. So tonight, I will not disappoint. I have guest number two. First of all, hey, Stephanie. Hi, Kim. Hi, everybody watching. I appreciate you guys so much. So let's get started. You guys know 3 cheers of joy. So since my guest hasn't arrived yet, I'm going to go ahead with what I had in mind. And it is a wine from the St. Augustine, Florida winery. I tried it at my mom's, and this is what I'm using tonight. So tonight's 3 Cheers of Joy is sponsored by the St. Augustine Winery. And it is almost tastes like a muscadine. It's like a blend of a muscadine and a bold red. So it's really good. This is my second bottle since since I tried it the first time. So we're going to get started with that. All right, my first cheer of joy. My first cheer of joy. I'm so happy for my imagination because I find myself in this loving space and I wonder what my life would have been like had I been just surrounded and engulfed all in this love like my whole life. Like I have 3 amazing children, but I'm thinking I probably would have had 6. I'm thinking that I would have just been so fruitful and wanting to give so much life and vitality to my husband and to my family. So I'm thinking I would have had more double the kids that I already have. So cheers to being able to imagine what a lifetime of love feels like. Cheers to that. My second cheer of joy would have to be not being afraid, and I'm sure I've celebrated this before, not being afraid of what can happen to me, being able to speak from a place of wisdom and experience and understanding without worrying about what somebody's going to do or what somebody's going to say. I mean, I think I feel very safe. I feel very confident and knowledgeable of my experiences. And I think I've learned from them. So I'm happy for that, my experiences and my ability to just say what I'm going to say and be bold in it. So that's my second cheer of joy. So the first cheer of joy was the ability to imagine how good it would feel to be in a relationship surrounded by love my whole life. I'm happy that I can imagine that. Yeah. And then the second thing is being fearless and speaking from a place of experience and speaking from just knowing that I'm okay, right? So I'm happy that I'm able to speak from that. My third cheer of joy is the ability to, well, let me drink to that. Cheers to that. And my third cheer of joy is being, I'm happy that I'm able to see the changes that are taking place in the United States today. I'm happy that I'm able to witness all of this and to be able to talk to my grandchildren about it the way that it was and the way that it will be once they're old enough to recognize everything. So I'm very pleased with having this experience to share with my grandchildren and my great grandchildren. So that's my third cheer of joy. As I promised, I hope you guys are celebrating something. I hope you got something yummy that you're drinking. I hope you got some yummy things in your life that you're celebrating. And as I promised, we have a special guest tonight. He has arrived. His name is Jahir Wilkinson, and I'm very pleased to have him as a guest tonight. And hopefully our conversation will not disappoint. Hello, sir. How are you?
How are you doing? It's autumn to
I
be
think
here.
you're muted. Let me see. I can't hear you, honey.
You can't hear me?
You're not muted, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Is that me that I can't hear you? Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, say something now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. So it must have been me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I can hear you now. So welcome. This is Jahir, everybody. And he is here to spend the evening with us. And we're going to pick his brain and see what his thoughts are and what he, what his thoughts are and what he looks at when he looks towards the future. So welcome, Jahir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just finished my 3 cheers of joy. And I mentioned to you that the 3 cheers of joy were 3 moments of self-celebration. Do you have 3 cheers of joy that you'd like to talk about?
Let's say my first cheer of joy is definitely graduation. Graduating from high school. That's my first cheer of joy. With all this pandemic and all this the situation going on, that's definitely my first one. My second one would definitely be let's see, overcoming adversity. That's my second one. I say that because when you go through high school, you change not just physically but mentally, emotionally. In high school, when you go from ninth to 12th grade, you're not the same person that you are from ninth grade. So and I had a lot of things going on, a lot of personal things, and I overcame it. Graduated high school with honors, so I'm glad. So yeah, my third and last one will probably be overcoming let's say overcoming my brother's death. So I don't really talk about it as much, but yeah, my brother died my junior year, and I took that pretty hard. Beat myself down to it, but when I look towards it, he wouldn't want me to beat myself up. Just stay positive. Life is gonna go on, so I gotta keep going. So those are my 3 cheers of joy.
Well, thank you for participating in the 3 cheers of joy. I always, whenever I have a guest on the show, I always ask them to participate in that. A lot of times people don't really think of like just things that have happened to them that they can celebrate. We always look for these grandiose things to celebrate that we don't just take an opportunity to see that, you know what, damn, I didn't think I was going to make it through the day and I did, so even those moments we celebrate. So thank you very much for that. And following with your 3 cheers of joy, I have 2 questions. Well, maybe 3. One is you graduated high school in the middle of a freaking pandemic. Exactly. What was that like?
When we actually, I remember my last day of school. What I remember from, I had my last track practice, or my last track meet actually. My last track meet. We didn't go until like 10 at night. I didn't go, yeah. And I didn't want to go to school that day. But I was just tired from, we've been running all day. And I didn't know that would be my last day of school, literally. And I didn't go to school, what was that Thursday? And that Friday, that's when they called off with the quarantine, all that stuff. Nobody can come to school. So when you think back of it, if I would have had another time in school, I would have went back, just to see my friends again. But I didn't like online. I did not like online. Me, I'm a visual person. I can't do
online. The online was difficult?
It was difficult, but I got through it, with help my teachers and counselors.
Did you have, so you, of course you and your friends had plans. You had plans for prom, you had plans for the graduation ceremony, you had senior skip day in there somewhere. You had all of these plans, and then all of a sudden it's like, stay home and don't do anything. Was that like, what was that like?
To me, I'm an athlete, so I don't like staying in the house for a certain amount of time. I'm always out doing something. That's just how I
Mhm.
am. My mom knows that. So me, it was actually pretty depressing. So I'm usually working out or I'm with my friends. But when we was on lockdown and quarantine, I didn't. It was like I was in prison or I was incarcerated. And I
Yeah,
didn't like that. My mom was incarcerated. All I could do was stay in my room,
right.
play the game, or do homework. Like it was just same thing every day. Like
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And but I had to make my own schedule. My grandma told me to make my own schedule. Just do something different every day, even if it's just meditating or just working on your own or just walking. You know what I'm saying? Taking enjoying the sunlight, just something. To,
I needed your grandmother because I was struggling too.
yeah.
I
So
needed that too because that was difficult for me as well. But I
mhm.
didn't think about you guys, and you guys, the young one, you young folks, you come and go all the time, and especially at your age, you're probably driving. You got movies, you got dates, you got friends, track practice. You got stuff to do, and all of a sudden it comes to a screeching halt. Like you can't go outside. So I didn't even think about the level of how that would hit you and maybe that possible opportunity for depression. But I can definitely imagine that. So what, how was it with you being at home and staying connected with your teachers? You didn't necessarily like the online learning, but you had to stay connected.
That's
What allowed you to keep doing that?
well in school I'm always connecting with my teachers. I have 5 classes, so it's not that big of a class. So when you connected with your teachers, and when your school environment is close, or they're very close, you get connected to your teachers all the time. So all my teachers, I actually see them. I actually see myself talking to them after college and just in college. So when I need help or when the help is given, I take it. So
That's good. I mean, it's good that, especially to have something positive to say, because we had a lot of teachers to struggle too. And we don't take that into consideration. You go from the classroom to all of a sudden you have to be online and manage your students in this virtual space. And I'm sure that's that was difficult for everybody to do. You also said that you had to overcome some adversity and some depression and just with being home and making the transition. So I'm gonna, after we do the 3 cheers of joy, I usually roll into like a Facebook post of the week.
mhm.
And I told you that, so maybe you have a Facebook post you'd like to share as well. So mine will be pretty short, because it was just kind of funny and I saw it today. And
Mhm.
it says, she's sugar and spice and everything nice, and I'm sage and hood and wish a mother truck of wood. We are not the same. So I thought that was funny, especially in reference to me, because people always expect me to be this nice person, which I am nice, but I'm not a pushover and I'm very direct. And that was one of my 3 cheers of joy, just being able to be honest and upfront. So when I read that, I thought that's me, because I'm always like, no negative energy. Let me get that away from me. So whoever made that little poem, I definitely liked that. And that was my Facebook post of the week. So do you have a Facebook post of the week you'd like to share?
I do. I definitely
Okay,
have a good post. Um, I don't know right now actually.
that's okay.
So this, well, it's mostly like when it was on the verge of me giving. I don't ever give up. Just as me. I don't really give up. Just in anything. Like I'm really ambitious. I'm really determined. That's
That
like a lot.
doesn't mean anything. Giving up doesn't mean anything to you because you're young and I'm sure your mom hasn't taught you that giving up is an option. Giving up comes when we get older, like me, and you're like tired of trying. But for you, you're just like, I'll do it. I'll do it. So I get that.
So yeah, it was just on a point where like you said, depression. Like it wasn't really depression, but it was like I was in that mindset of I can't do this. I can't. But
Right.
so my mom did a Facebook post. If I could find it, she did a Facebook post for encouragement, and I had all the encouragement from family that even if I haven't seen them before, family, friends,
Mhm.
siblings, cousins, and that gave me hope. in faith to keep pushing, because I'm not only making myself proud or doing this for them or myself. I'm doing it for people um, that look up to me, or the
I
people that don't
believe in
even know
you.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
I remember the day your mom made that post, and I thought that was such a neat idea. So while he's looking for it, I'll let you guys know his mom made a post asking that we send positive words of encouragement to Jahir with him graduating or being a senior in the pandemic. So she asked that we leave all of, just say something good and kind for him. So when he and I talked, I mentioned it to him, and he talked about how it was so great for him to be able to have that. And that's what he's looking for now. I'm going to see if I can find
I
it.
found it.
You got it?
Want to read it, or what the?
You can just, why don't you read what your mom said, and then just pick out a couple that just you really appreciated. And you don't have to read the names of who made it, or you can, but I think it's just more important understanding that the words, your mom's tribe is so powerful that she was just able to summon everybody to just send this energy your way, and you responded to it.
Um, the post said, "Good morning, everyone. I'm working on something for my son to celebrate him being a 2020 graduate, and I need your help. If you could comment something positive to congratulate him and inspire him to keep moving forward. Jahir is amazing. He has always had the ability to stay on course of plan. His perseverance and strength on not giving up were unwavering, even though his sports injuries or any setbacks. He is a mentor to friends. He wants to leave a mark on this world to make people feel better mentally, physically, and even spiritually. I love him so much. Last night he came to talk to me, and I never heard my son sound so defeated. I felt helpless. This year meant so much to these graduates. He is now at the threshold of something new, and right now things seem uncertain. I want him to always know that God is in control. So please comment below, because I will use them at a later date when we take a moment. And from my uncle said, "Ja, you have made me so proud as your uncle. Give thanks for life, always next. Keep God first, and he always say fix their face. Like, here's the thing, he said fix your face." Um, my brother's mom, which is my aunt, congratulations, Jahir. Don't give up. At times when you feel overwhelmed, but in those times, just know that you have a support team in New York. And I know that your brother Joshua will be looking down on you with a smile, saying, "Good job, bro." Just think of him when you think of giving up. He will want you to keep pushing. Everyone is so proud of you. What you're doing and accomplish. Only way is up. Never surrender to negativity. Stay positive and keep the eye of a tiger. God got you. Josh got you, and we got you.
Jahir, before you read another one, was Josh older or younger than you?
He was older than me. He
Okay.
was my older brother.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Thank you.
You good. My last one, I'm gonna take a random one. Jair, you are awesome. You are an awesome young man. Life is sometimes doesn't go as planned, but you can and will move forward.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really, the post was just so nice. And it goes in line with who his mother is. And I've met her through Facebook, and she's um, just one of the kindest spirited women that I've met. And I've met some amazing women. You guys know I always love my Facebook women, my Facebook friends, and she's just so sweet, right? And when that came out, I was overwhelmed thinking like, oh my gosh, the opportunity to send some goodness the way of someone that's graduating, because we couldn't imagine graduating in this time, not going to school for the last 9 weeks of school. We could have never imagined that. Even leaving for whatever spring break or his last track meet, he was still thinking about what he needed to do on Monday, probably like what has to happen. And then that was it. So that was really good. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that and your maturity. So I know that you said you have a poem that you want to share, but I
Yeah.
think we'll wait a few minutes to share it because I want to kind of get into the interview, some of the questions that I asked to see, what your thoughts are.
Mhm.
So first off, I know that you're a senior and you run track,
I play
and
as well.
You play what else?
basketball as well.
Basketball as well. Wow. So what are your plans now that you've graduated high school? What are you planning to do next?
My plans are I'm attending Columbus State University in Columbus, Georgia, and
Okay.
I will be majoring in kinesiology and minoring in psychology.
Oh, so kind of a sports injury therapist kind of thing happening there, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, kinesia. Okay, well, good for you. So, will you play sports while you're there, or are you?
I'm definitely thinking. I think my first year I should definitely I'm gonna work out, but I'm definitely thinking like a manager just to get used to college, um
Hmm.
play sports, and I'm trying to get used to college experience. Then when it comes to sophomore year, I can
You'll see then.
definitely, yeah.
Okay. Well, good for you. So, your high school that you attended, did you go to the same school for 4 years? Did you
Yes,
go to
ma'am.
the same school? Okay. So, did you have your friends, was it a diverse culture of people, or was it a were you like the minority in a group of people? Was it mostly Black Americans? How would you describe your circle of friends?
Um, I believe they're very diverse. I'm friendly with anybody. I'm a
Okay.
friendly person. I'm not really the one to be mean to anybody. But like I said, I could be. My group of friends is diverse. I can't really say all black. I have a lot of friends that are white,
Right.
um, Hispanic, any race. So
Okay. Do you feel like being, and I guess last week I asked this too, do you feel like because you are a Black American man, a growing man, do you feel like you're less than because you're a Black American?
um, let's see. Me? I can't really. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Do you feel like you're less than like your non-Black people? Do you think because you're a Black man, you're not as good as other people? Do you think that's a hindrance for you?
Not for me actually. I know for other people that's probably a thing, but I don't think for me. I don't feel less of a person, you know. Cause I'm gonna keep going, or I'm gonna keep grinding. I'm gonna keep doing what I have to do. Um,
Okay.
I don't feel less of any man because
Well,
we
okay,
both.
and that's good, and that's good. And the reason I ask that is because we always, when people talk, it's usually the older men that talk, how they feel in situations, and that's why I wanted to concentrate on the younger men to see if you guys, you Gen Zers, are coming out of school feeling, you young Black men are coming out of school feeling like, well, I'm not as good as this person because I'm Black. If you feel like being Black is a detriment to you, or you're not going to be as great as somebody because of it. And that's the only reason I ask. I'm a woman, I don't have that. I think I'm great.
Yeah, I
So
never
that's
had
not an
that.
issue I have, but
I never had that at all.
okay. All right. Well, good. That's good. That's good. Do you think that and you don't think that you're limited in opportunities because of it either?
I,
Nope.
yeah,
Okay.
I think at this generation we have enough opportunities because we as Gen Z we are young entrepreneurs. We doing hair, we're selling lashes, we're doing this. It's other ways to make money. So I think at
Right.
Generation Z we're doing our
Right.
thing. My
And I think I believe that as well, because you guys, the Gen Z, you guys are the generation that will literally grow understanding the importance of equality or equity amongst everybody. I'm a Gen X, the millennials are kind of in the middle, but the Gen X, we were still raised as a kind of a separation. They're trying to kind of mold it together, the different cultures, but we still had our separatist views on white people did this and Black people did this. But you guys are truly the mesh of the melting pot. You guys are truly what America is going to be, with the um, diversity and the acceptance and understanding of cultures. So so I get that for you guys. I think it's us, my age, probably between 30 and 80 that are struggling.
Yeah,
But you guys are like, whatever. Why are you guys having all these problems?
yeah, I think I was pretty fearless,
Yeah.
but I believe we were pretty fearless. I remember one of my mentors told me this. If I can remember right. As Gen Z, we're fearless, but we use it in the wrong way. Like we use it like towards to disrespect our elders type of thing. Like we use it in the wrong way. We should be fearless towards like situations like this, which we are,
Hmm.
doing protesting all this stuff. Um, but we kind of use it in the wrong way of disrespecting elders, like talking back or just like. So yeah, I feel.
Well, you guys have been you guys are being raised to speak your mind,
Right.
period. Like, so whether it's an elder or somebody your age, you've been raised that I can say what I'm going to say and I'm free to do that. So
Hmm.
it's not an intentional disrespect. We were taught you don't talk back to your elders and you don't disrespect your elders, but we
Hmm.
also weren't taught to speak our mind, right? You guys are taught if it's wrong, it's wrong. It doesn't matter who's doing it, right? So I can understand where your mentor is coming from in saying that. So I totally understand that. So let me ask this. We're going to move on just to kind of see what your thoughts are. So in February, there was a murder of a young Black American man, Ahmaud Arbery. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So we didn't, well, mainstream news didn't find out until beginning of May, I think, that the video was released of him being murdered by the citizens. So when you found out about it, what were your thoughts? Do you remember?
My thoughts on the murder.
Yeah.
Um, I've seen the murder. I try not to watch too much graphic things. It kind of like messes me up mentally.
Okay.
And but I have seen it before, and it was.
You've seen a murder in person?
Oh no 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 no.
Oh,
Well, I have and I haven't. So yeah, I have,
okay.
but I've seen the Ahmad
Hmm.
murder, and it was really traumatizing as a black man. You don't want to put yourself or other friends, or you don't want to think of the worst
Right,
like that. You know what I'm saying? He was innocent. Like,
right.
so yeah, it was just I don't know. It was
It was shocking. So first of all, so it was shocking that he was murdered and it was recorded. And then to find out months later about it and nothing had been done to the people who murdered him was even more shocking, right? It's almost like, what happened? Like, is this for real?
yeah.
So when you so months couple months later we saw the video. We know this young man, 25, so just a few years older than you, when he was shot down and murdered by two men. Did you feel like you had to change the way that you did things to avoid to avoid those situations? Do you feel like you had to make some changes?
Not necessarily
Okay.
me. I just I do what I have to do every day. God forbid I get put in a situation like that just by just walking down the street,
Yeah.
um, or God forbid my mom prayed my last time coming back home type of thing. But nah, I never really thought of anything like that or changing my ways. Cause
Okay.
not a bad person to do anything. He wasn't a bad person.
He wasn't.
Just a human black guy.
Yeah. And it was on them. And so that's the thing that's important for you guys to understand is that you you're doing what you do, and that's the only thing that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go through life making adjustments and changes for people because of you fear how they're going to respond to you. You, as you said before, you will move fearless. Like, you will move and people will move out of your way because they won't be able to control you. So good that you didn't think I need to do something different, because those things impact when you see them and you hear about them. Of course, as moms, we want to think, oh Lord, how do we protect our child? And short of keeping you locked up like in a pandemic, we can't do that, but we want
Yeah.
to keep you men safe. So
I know friends that I know one of my best friends. I think when the situation happened with George Floyd, his mother kept it inside. I was like, I mean, I understand, but I don't think it wouldn't really do anything.
right.
I guess a protesting in the police and I don't know. It was just yeah,
Yeah.
it was
That
it
was
was
That was bad too. And that's the next thing. So in the Arbery case, so the two guys, the dad and the son and the videographer have all been arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out that the videographer hit him with his car either while he was recording or before he started recording. So they're all charged with some part of the murder, which is good because they definitely need a consequence for it.
Definitely.
Yep. And something that annoyed me about that is that the police and the judges or whoever kind of conspired to write a letter talking about why it was okay and they were in their right to shoot them. And I think that that kind of got a pass for a while because people didn't understand it enough to go against it until there was a lawyer brought in. Do you think that lack of education contributes to um, the negative situations or people not being able to move forward because they don't have enough information or resources to make the steps to move forward? Do you think that is a correlation to education, or you think that's just kind of the way that it goes?
So you're saying that if education was
If,
not here,
if they not even that it's not here, but if not furthering education, if not continuing to grow, if that kind of lends to them being stuck in a place of not understanding the legal system or just getting caught in the legal system.
okay. Um, I believe so, but I can't really. I'm not really too. I don't want to be. I'm not really accurate on this, but I believe so in a way. If you have more education in what you're talking about or what you're doing, I believe you can outsmart the system. So,
At
but
least work the system, right?
yeah, exactly.
At least work the system. And I think that happened with the Arbery case because when somebody in the legal system is giving you information and you don't have the people don't have the comprehension for it, they're
Mm.
literally stuck with what they're given. There's not a recourse to say no, that's not accurate, or I don't want to do that, because it's even documented that people have pled out to years in prison for a crime when other people got like a couple of months just
Exactly.
because they didn't understand what was going on.
It's
Okay.
sad.
Yeah. Okay. So then fast forward to George Floyd. We watched him on video being murdered by a police officer, and it was recorded. A young girl, 17, 18, your age, recorded the video. So when you saw, were you able to watch that video? I'd never
I
watched the whole
did.
video.
I
You did?
think what hit me most is when I think it was a post when it had his last words he said. That kind of definitely hit me the most. I
Mhm.
really felt that. I had to get off Instagram for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made me really, really sad and mad. It was just a lot of emotions. And so that's when I had, took the time off Instagram. But at that time, it was just celebrities, I guess. I won't say disrespecting, but it wasn't going the right way about the situation. So they got really backlash from
Mm-hmm.
other people. If I'm a celebrity and I have potential followers, I'm gonna use that to my best ability, just to start a petition, start a movement, something positive. But they did it the opposite. So I was really upset at the celebrities while
Okay.
they were speaking up. They speak up for these things, other stuff that's trending or anything, or saying their music, but they don't speak up for Black Lives Matter or anything like that. So that kind of got me upset.
Right.
Well.
A lot of the celebrity issue comes up a lot because people always want to know, where's this person, why aren't they saying anything? And that's the part that reminds us that they're human, and they're going through the same turmoil and emotions that we're going through. We don't see them as human, we see them as kind of a subhuman group because they're so amazing in their gift of entertainment. But because they're amazing and we look to them, we expect them to be able to say something to help everybody deal with it. But they're just emotional, trying to figure it out too. Um, so it took some time for people to start speaking out. I think once the recording came out with George Floyd, and I think it was 4 days before the officer was arrested, Chauvin was arrested, and he went in on third-degree murder. and now it's been changed to second-degree murder. And I found out today that there was a press conference and they were expecting a plea deal, but the plea deal fell through, and that was like on the 28th of March. So that was about 2 weeks ago. So that didn't happen. So now he's in prison, but it's now coming out that he and George Floyd knew each other.
Exactly, I've seen that.
Yep, that they knew each other, and now do they know each other? He had a problem with it, and now can it be first-degree murder? So that's kind of the conversation. What do you think about seeing that and that they may have known each other?
When I seen that, it was surprising. When cops kill each other, they usually don't know the person that they killed.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Right.
But when I think they met at a diner, right? If I'm not mistaken.
At a club. They used to work. They would work the same club. Like, I think they said George Floyd would be security inside and the officers would be outside, and they had kind of had words before. That's, I mean, the news. Who knows? So
yeah, they only tell so little stuff, but yeah, it was a bit surprising. But still, it's a human. Why take his life? Like,
right.
it was the other way around. Exactly.
Man, immediately we already know what that would have been immediately, and then also it's like when you think about the picture of Chauvin, the guy on his neck, and the blank face that he had, it's almost like there's no remorse, no compassion, like there's nothing that says there's a human here that's begging me for air. There's a human. And that was really kind of the thing that said, oh, this guy is a sociopath. Like he has some issue that he doesn't even heed to the human cry. It doesn't even matter to him.
I felt so disrespected. I don't know, as a black man, like it was just disrespectful in a way. It's disrespectful all the way, not in a way, but all the way. Like you said, sociopath. How could you just take somebody's life,
right,
and just feel no remorse, or just feel nothing?
His face was blank. Like his face was blank. Like there's no expression, and he was almost like he didn't even care. And so that's the thing that we have to make sure that we don't allow to, because as Black Americans, we're very forgiving. We have to make sure that we don't humanize Chauvin in the process, because George Floyd is dead. He's been murdered and he's been buried. And now we're here about Chauvin and his life and his this. And we're so compassionate. We'll have an ability to make him a person again. Oh, he didn't mean it, but he meant it. Like you see it, you could see that in him. So did you get an opportunity to go to any of the protests?
I'm actually going this Friday. I was supposed to go today, but it started raining.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going Friday. I believe it's at Piedmont Park, if I'm not mistaken. I gotta look at it again. I'm going by tour. So yeah, I'm going this Friday.
Have you made your sign? Do you know what you're going to carry?
Something powerful. Nothing too much, but something, saying, powerful.
Okay. Well, good. So you didn't go to the protest, so that means you weren't a part of any of the looting and rioting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anybody that was a part of any of that?
Not really. I don't know anybody, but I don't know anybody, any friends or any relatives that was a part of it.
Yeah, you guys are still young in that, I think, and to be just going out and looting and rioting, because that doesn't mean anything to you. Looting and rioting would be for somebody who knows about looting and rioting. They've seen it before. They know that it's lucrative. But now with all this facial recognition, they know that they should know they're going to end up with a charge or go to jail, but whatever. So yeah, I was really upset about the looting and rioting. And I kept talking about that and not as much about the protest. And then my guest last week, Quentin, made a statement, something like, we can't give so much attention to the looting and rioting that it takes away from the protest. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was like, that was good for me, because I wasn't giving the protest the amount of energy that it required. I was concentrating on the negative. So that was good for me. And it helped me to kind of pull back on that piece and just to kind of magnify the protesting, because that's powerful to be able to protest First Amendment right to assemble, right to assemble. So now that we've been protesting for, oh gosh, it's been what, 2 weeks now?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, so it's been 2 weeks now, and it seems to continue. It's going to continue. They're organizing one in Washington D.C. for August 28th. But the con side of the protest is that the coronavirus numbers are increasing.
Yeah, I seen a post. I don't know really what to believe. I don't know. Like, I guess they're saying it's fake or something. I don't know.
So
I don't know at this point.
You're thinking that people are saying the coronavirus is fake?
Yeah, I don't know at this point. I don't really try to believe media like that. I don't really try to go too much in the media.
So the conspiracy theorists, you're like, I'm not getting caught up in that, you know? Yeah. So that's me too, right? So I'm with you too, but so it's like there's a pandemic that has shut down the world. So we know that, and we know that. I have to look at it like this. I know that during the time we were shut down, that people were dying. Like, people were dying because of something, right? I couldn't allow myself to get caught up in the conspiracy theories, because it's like a rabbit hole from any time. It's like a rabbit hole of nothingness. And this is something you'll have to kind of navigate yourself as a young man, where to put your energy, what to rely on. Right. And on the Joy Exposed podcast, I always go back to what the CDC is saying, because that's been the constant in my life, from polio to measles, mumps, rubella. You know, when you go to school, you got to get your shots. And that the Centers for Disease Control, that's the organization within the US that manages that data. So if they're saying there's a pandemic and this is what you do, I'm probably going to trust them because I've trusted them. But some of the other stuff, I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know myself. But, I had times where I didn't have a mask and nothing happened.
Well, you don't want anything to happen.
That's my point. But, you know, my grandma's always on me, don't forget your mask, don't forget your mask.
Well, you have to think about your grandmother, who she's probably not much older than me. So she's in the mindset of knowing what it was like when we started getting vaccines, period. So when we started getting vaccines before, so she is aware and knowing to follow the rules, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer.
We've been doing that ever since this stuff happened anyway, so.
But then some people are still dying, the older people and the little babies with compromised immune system. But that's with everything, the flu, that's what everything all the time. I think this time the concern was more so no one really knew what to do, because there wasn't a flu vaccine already put together, which, you know, there usually is in the months of October, November, you start taking your flu shot. No, September, October, you start taking flu shot. But there wasn't one, and people were dying. So, you know, there was a little bit of alarm. But you guys are supposed to be fearless. It's not gonna get me.
That's how I feel. I'm always working out or doing something.
Yeah.
I just feel like this whole pandemic could have been stopped before it even came to the United States, in my opinion.
It could have.
They knew about it in China, but they didn't do anything until it came.
Well, they knew about it in China, but you think the United States moves on money. So were you born the year that the World Trade Center was bombed?
I was right. My birthday is August 8th, 2001. So that was like
a month. Yeah. So you came in the biggest terrorist attack ever in the United States. And now you have this. So your life will be all of the chaos. So you're like, I started with 9/11. I finished high school with a pandemic. Like, that will be your story. So the United States is a huge money center from all over the world. We are definitely that powerhouse. And people move in and out of the US like crazy. So you're right. Knowing that there's a pandemic somewhere and still allowing this traffic into the US, there should have been a faster, swifter approach to stopping it. But you have to think our leadership was saying, it's no big deal. It's not going to bother us. That's where that was coming from, our leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our leadership.
Our lack of leadership, right? Our lack of leadership. So that was coming from there. And then we find out a couple months later, like, holy crap, now we got to shut this stuff down and figure this piece out. So fortunately, you're on the other side. Hopefully we're on the other side, and we'll all be fine. I still wear my mask. I have a hand sanitizer in the car. I move a little bit or not, but we still just take precautions, because this could literally be around for a long time. And they're talking about a vaccine, but the vaccine usually takes a year to develop from start to production. And they've just started trials about 3 months ago. So we won't see that. We won't see that for a little while. So the other thing before you go, not before we go, but I want you to read your poem. The other thing about for Arbery and Floyd, there was a older Black man, his name is Christian Cooper, who was in Central Park bird watching. Did you see that story?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so he was bird watching, and a woman told him, I'm going to call he told the woman, a white woman, to put her dog on a leash.
I seen that.
Yep. And she said, I'm going to call the police and tell them a African-American man is threatening me. And he was like, call whatever you want. And that's the fearlessness. That's the understanding that you are of privilege too. That's understanding where you are. And that's what you're saying in your words. Is like, you know what? Do what you're going to do, because I'm going to do I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And that's what we all want. The older people, that's what we want. That privilege, that fearlessness that you have.
What made y'all not have this fearless mindset? Like, what was that?
Well, it was more so of, there's a separation of Black and white. And that's the way that, we're talking segregated communities where Black people lived one place, white people lived another place. And it was almost like there are just lines you didn't cross, especially the generation before mine, the baby boomers, for sure. And that's when the women went to work, the baby boomers went to work. Those are the people that are dying now, like the older people now, the baby boomers. So, but for our generation, it was almost the time that education was expected, but you didn't have to, so you can go to college or you don't have to. You can go to military or you don't have to. But we all knew our white American counterparts who had the luxury of going and not worrying about money and just being able to do whatever. So that in itself was a separation. Many of us were raised by our parents didn't talk separation, because they understood that you're as good as anybody else. But there are a lot of people that are still stuck. And that's where it's just a transition from segregation to integrated schools. It's just that transition. But you guys are on the other side of it, that you won't have that there, right? You won't go through that. You understand that you're free American, and you do whatever the hell you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you guys understand that. All right. So okay, so you have a poem. So you ready to read your poem? All right. So Jahir has a poem. He wrote it. It's an original. He's going to share it with us.
It's on me?
Yep, it's on you.
All right. This piece is called Black Beauty. And here we go. What is beauty? Is it defined as a skin color or a race? Or is it what society makes? Beauty is a lot like magic. The untold mysteries of great physical characteristics, but yet so unhappy. So miserable that the world judges you from the color of your skin. But deep down, do they really know who you are? Beauty is a lot like a snowflake. So fragile by the touch, but yet so unique. transparent as can be, in that moment you become broken pieces that cannot be rebuilt. Beauty's a lot like a moon. There's changes she goes through, but yet so hard to understand. But all in all, what makes beauty so difficult is that the fact we try to humiliate each other who are not like us. But all in all, we're the same race, but just different shades of black.
Nice. Very nice. Do you write often?
Yeah, I write often.
Yeah.
I definitely have a poetry page I just put up this month, and I've been having a lot of love and support going on from friends and family. So, I've just been writing here and there, whatever's on my mind.
Well, good. I think writing definitely sets you free. I started writing myself I used to always journal, and I started writing probably 3 years ago. I started writing, and that's been a lifesaver for me because I guess the artistic part of you is always at work. So it's
Yeah,
almost like you have to kind of do like a brain dump because
yeah,
it's always in there. So good for you that you found that. And thank you for sharing that. I think that your choice to share tonight is perfect because that's essentially what we're talking about is that we are a human race. We are a human race and we're all varying shades of black and brown. And we're trying to figure out how to appreciate each other without humiliation of ourselves or other people. So I think that was a great choice of to share. And you sent me a copy of it, and I'll put it on my blog and send you the link so you can share that as well. And thank you for that. Is there anything that you want to add or share? We're down to like the last 7 minutes. If you want to say anything or you have any questions for me.
I want to thank my mom and Miss Johnson Moore for giving me this my first podcast. This was great. It was a good experience. It was fun. It was great talking. I want to shout out my friends and family who've been supporting me since day one. Even when I look like I'm giving up, there's a bit of hope in them that makes me keep going. Shout out to my little sister. Yeah, I do this for her. I do this for my family. Um, and yeah, that's it.
Well, good. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. And one of the things that you have to remember growing up is that there will be some times that are difficult. Like there will be some difficult times and you feel like you can't. But can't isn't really an option. Like the universe has chosen you to do something amazing, and you'll always think that you should be doing something else. And that's just a gentle reminder that you're not done. Even when you think you want to give up and you lay there and do nothing and say, I quit, it doesn't go away. It's like, okay. It doesn't go away. And don't fight against it because your gifts are yours. They don't belong to anybody else. And you are your own greatness. You're not to be somebody else. You're not to be like somebody else. You're only to be yourself and to walk in it boldly, to be proud of it and not afraid, as you have already presented to us that you are fearless, and that's an amazing gift to have already.
Yeah, and that's what I try to be. I definitely try to be myself.
Yeah.
Be unique. Be creative. Like not a lot of people write poetry these days, so I use my gift.
Yeah.
Use it for
Well,
other
good.
people. I don't just do this for myself. I know people that go through things and they need some words, some experience or inspiration. So, and it's funny since you said that. One of my friends actually told me on Instagram. There's a post. It's right here. She said, "I love to read your writing, King. You touch a lot of topics that men would generalize as lame or not hard." And I said, "They aren't real men. I'm not here to impress people. I would rather be myself than fitting like the next man." And that's just true. That's just how I am. I like to impress. I mean, I'm not here to impress people.
Right.
It's not my job.
And that is amazing. Oh my God, you don't even understand how many adults can't articulate that. You don't understand. I always tell people, you got to be yourself. Everybody else is taken. Like, you can't be anybody else. You just got to be yourself. But for you to understand the significance of your presence, the significance of your gift at this age, hands down, you're winning, right? You're winning. And you're going to go off to college. You're going to get through this summer without the coronavirus. And you're going to go off to college, and you're going to see in college that you will stand above the crowd, and you are great. And that's a realization that you have to own. And there's a lot of responsibility in knowing that, in accepting the greatness that you have been given. There's a lot of responsibility in that. And as long as you stay level-headed and you think things out, and you understand that doing the right thing never allows anyone to question your integrity. When you do what you think is right, you never have to be questioned about your choices. Right? So it was a pleasure having you, and thank you for joining. I will upload this to YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and I'll make sure you have the links that you can share. And, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful night, and thanks for sharing your poetry as well.
Great night.
And remember, when joy is exposed, everything just feels better. See you guys next week. Bye. Mwah.